pushing back and not letting us into jail, it just means more agents are going to be in the community, so they're hurting themselves.
The LA School Board, which oversees the nation's second largest school system, passed similar resolutions declaring itself both a sanctuary for immigrants and the LGBTQ plus community. Governor Gavin Newsom has already called a special legislative session to Trump-proof California laws. Harris?
Wow. Well, I hope they can figure out how to protect their citizens, though. Jeff Paul, thank you. And we have additional alarming information now that has just come out about the surge of unaccompanied and missing migrant children. These are children who've come in under the Biden-Harris administration, and the number continues to grow. A new report from a senior Senate Republican found, quote, top administration officials knew about the dramatic increase in illegal child labor, but took no meaningful steps to prevent its occurrence and prioritize speed over safety when releasing unaccompanied children to adult sponsors for political gain due to their failed immigration policies and the crisis at the southern border. So now what that means is perhaps we don't even know who those kids were given to in the first place. Not only could we not vet those little ones because they don't have a digital footprint. Tom Homan, the incoming border czar, told us that on this very program days ago. But then now it comes out that, well, they were just putting them in the hands of anybody here. That is corrupt. Earlier this year, a DHS report found the administration lost track of more than 300,000 children. So we knew that part. That was a big focus during a dramatic House hearing yesterday. Republicans asking tough questions.
The Biden-Harris administration's border policies have allowed dangerous cartels, criminals, and human traffickers to prey upon the world's most vulnerable people, unaccompanied children that come to our country.
The Biden-Harris administration placed political aims above the welfare of unaccompanied migrant children who crossed or were trafficked across the southern border.
Republican Congressman James Comer of Kentucky, Oversight Committee Chair. Great to have you in focus. This subject is so tough. And look, what I just said, if all of what's coming into focus right now is true, it would be corrupt what these administration officials were doing, not fully vetting who they were putting the children in the hands of, even if it ever got that far. Some of these kids could have just been floating and picked up.
Yeah, it's corruption, it's inhumane, and it doesn't seem that there's a Democrat on Capitol Hill that's concerned about the children. This was a huge election in the election. This is an epic failure of the Biden-Harris administration. These blue state governors know that. These Democrat members of Congress know that. Yet they want to continue to push forward with their open border policies. They have no remorse for these children. There's no oversight or accountability with respect to the Biden-Harris team and what they've done on the border and how they've not kept track of these kids or the fentanyl pouring in. The Democrats don't care. Their mission is to get as many people into this country as possible. And I don't understand why. The American people spoke loud and clear. They're totally against this, and hopefully Trump will fix this on day one.
Is DHS too big? I mean, we have one man in charge, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. He's been impeached. The Senate wouldn't go through to remove him from his job. But, I mean, that agency has grown 16 heads. I mean, it's doing, is it just too big? Do you need to break it up?
Yes, that is common sense. The Department of Homeland Security is essentially 19 agencies that include the Secret Service, all the way down to FEMA, Border Patrol, and all of that.
Yeah.
When you look at the biggest failures in the Biden administration, they all fall under Mayorkas. Mayorkas has been a failure. But maybe the bright side of this is Congress sees that the whole Department of Homeland Security business model is a failure, and you're going to have to go in and reform it. And I think some of these agencies can be consolidated. I think that with what Elon Musk and Ramaswamy are wanting to do, that the Department of Homeland Security is the perfect place to start. Every agency is failing in its mission to the taxpayers. It's not just because of Mayorkas, he's a big reason, but the agency is just too big and it needs to be broken up.
I mean, the minute you started talking about just how woefully inept it's been in terms of keeping track of those children, it's apparent. If that was not the top priority, then yeah, it's too big. It can't function. And then you mentioned FEMA. Right on time, so let's get into that. Also under the umbrella of Mayorkas. Did he ever end up dealing with the post-hurricane stuff? I don't know. FEMA's director, Deanne Criswell, faced some pretty tenacious Republicans at a hearing yesterday. They wanted to know about potential politicization of that agency. And it comes after allegations that FEMA urged employees to discriminate against Trump voters, supporters, when they were giving disaster relief out following the deadly hurricanes, Helene and Milton. FEMA's director testified yesterday about an alleged text message to aid workers telling them to ignore homes that displayed Trump signs or flags. Here's a bit.
Peter struck when he said, "Oh, I just went into Walmart. I can smell the Trump supporters." This disdain, this mindset that's in the government where everyone's deplorable, everyone's garbage, everyone is, smelly people at Walmart, and be mindful of those people in Western North Carolina. That's what it sounds like. FEMA appears to be plagued by poor decision making and a serious lack of communication.
This same employee alleged on TV that this was not an isolated event, and that FEMA essentially treats the homes of President Trump supporters as if they were homes of people with vicious dogs. This is unacceptable.
There's a little bit more to this. FEMA's director has doubled down that there is no evidence of widespread discrimination at FEMA, but said she would request an investigation into the allegations.